It began with Shaggy and Scooby once again being used as live bait in order to trap a seaweed monster in an old abandoned warehouse. As usual, Fred's trap didn't exactly go to plan of trying to trap the monster in an empty crate. This trap failed because the monster simply broke out of the crate, lashing its spindly tentacles and roaring as it did so. It continued its pursuit of Shaggy and Scooby, chasing them all around the dark and damp and dreary abandoned warehouse. Until the scared duo crashed into a pile of stacked boxes. With the monster right behind them, the monster itself crashed into the boxes, and as they split open, revealing hundreds of unmarked dollar bills, Fred then sprung a net on the seaweed monster. This time it was well and utterly trapped. Daphne had the honours of doing the unmasking. "Just as I suspected," Velma stated, revealing the seaweed monster to be nothing more than Mr. Lloyd, the bank teller. He was planning to switch these unmarked dollar bills with the ones that were kept in the bank's safe, and dressed up as the seaweed monster in order to scare people away, Velma explained. Before there could be any celebration at the malt shop, or even enough time for the gang to call the police in order for Mr. Lloyd to be arrested, the entire warehouse filled with gas, putting Scooby and the gang to sleep. The gang then awoke hours later, but not on the hard floor of an abandoned warehouse. This ground was soft and spongy, almost damp, if it hadn't been for the hot, blistering sun. As the Scooby gang awoke, they realised that they had been kidnapped, and were now in a dark green and brown murky swamp, with a rotting stench in the air. An odour of something decomposing filled Scooby's nostrils. Scooby said as he spat in order to get the taste of this foul-smelling odour out of his nostrils. "Where are we?" asked Daphne, as she straightened her hair. "It seems familiar," Fred replied as he got his bearings. "Come on, gang, let's try and find out where we are," exclaimed Fred, leading the way for them to go and explore this swampy, wooded area that seemed also familiar to them. Perhaps it hadn't come to them yet, as it was a memory they wished they would never remember. Through the horrors that they had experienced, very soon they would experience these horrors again. Fred, Daphne and Velma walked in a triangle, with Fred at the centre and Daphne and Velma slightly behind at either side, all three of which constantly looking around, looking for any signs of life or civilization, or at least any other clues to where they were. 20 feet behind them were Shaggy and Scooby, shaking with every step, unable to remain still, as although nothing had happened to them yet other than the kidnapping, the fear vibrated through their bodies, making them incapable of standing still. The deja vu the gang had been experiencing was then confirmed, as Fred pointed out a very familiar looking house, the house of Simone Lenoir. Scooby immediately jumped into Shaggy's arms. The two shaking became more and more violent. Shaggy's hair was now standing on end. They were on Moonscar Island, or as it was more commonly referred to now, Zombie Island.